You're going to be working on vocabulary trees?
RTII stands for Response to Instruction and Intervention. And across the country, it's known most typically as RTI, but the state of Pennsylvania added the additional I 2 years ago now to put more emphasis on the core instruction that goes on in the classrooms. So here in North Penn, we're really spending a lot of time looking at our core language arts program and what's happening during our regular language arts instruction that occurs 90 to 110 minutes a day. A research committee started, I want to say 4 years ago, and began to look into all the components of RTI to see if it was something that would fit here in North Penn. I came on in the position 2 years ago to implement what they laid down as a implementation path for the next 3 years. So we started looking at our elementary schools. We grouped them into 3 different groups, and we phased in what we called our implementation of RTI over those 3 groups over the last 3 years. We're only implementing K through 3 at this point. In our phase 1 schools, the first group of schools that were operational K3 last year, they're rolling over some of the components into the 4th grade. But they've not taken on the formal structure of RTI as far as a universal screening or having that complete data meeting or following up with more data. It's just the structure of small group and differentiation. If we think about reading and we think about the developmental skills in reading, research for us in the last 10 years in literacy have really identified the targeted developmental stages of the foundational skills in reading. And so for us, starting in the primary grades gives us the opportunity to look at those developmental stages, see where breakdown is occurring, and make sure that we're filling in those gaps and catching our learners before they actually are real struggling readers in 3rd and 4th grade. So you want to start early because, one, we have the data to show us and we have the skills and tools to intervene there, but we also know if we fill in those gaps now, we'll make lifelong readers. We start, of course, with assessments. So we look at what we call our universal screening, which is the DIBBLS assessment, which is Dynamic Indicators for Basic Early Literacy Skills. So we administer that across the grade level. We also take into account our North Penn curriculum assessments, which are holistic assessments. Teachers are also administering running records assessments and retellings. So all that data comes into play. So we sit down and have an actual meeting or conversation. And back when I said when I meet with the teachers for like a half day, we sit down and we look at all the data points and talk about every single child and say, what does this child need? What does the data indicate that this child needs? Once we've identified that targeted need, we place them into those small groups. So it's all based on that data. I think what parents are hearing is that, well, we have star time, and I'm sure their kids are coming home saying, I have star time today. And for star time, it means that their whole grade level is breaking out into small targeted groups where every child's needs are being met in the area of literacy. So that could be intervention for some, extension for others, reteaching for others, but small groups of instruction happening during one period of day. So a child may come home and say that I was with Mrs. Smith today, and Mrs. Smith's a brand new person that the parent may not be aware of, but that is an instructor that's been tagged to a specific group to meet a targeted need. It's so exciting to see the group of kindergartners grabbing their little star folders and walking down the hallway, and they know right where they're going to go, and everyone's doing it. So it's kind of a big grown-up thing to do, that I get to leave my classroom on my own and travel with my little group over to see Mrs. Smith and work on a specific thing and go back. I just heard from a teacher just this week said, wow, you know, the one thing I notice is it's so intense. Star time is so intense. And I think that's what's so great about it is for 30 minutes of the day, in that group of, if it's 4, if it's 15, it's targeted just to that group of kids, and it is intense. It's 30 minutes and you're hopping right through your lesson plan. So I think that that's something. But the kids are excited about it. It's something new, it's something different. And I think that they also are aware. I think kids are aware of what they need, be it intervention or enrichment. They're aware, and I think that that's the positive thing, is they are getting what they need. But I want to clarify, it's not that it's different than what teachers are trying to do during their regular classroom instruction, because in our language arts program, teachers are pulling small group all the time to fill in the gaps or intervene or enrich. This is just an additional time where we've reorganized the building and the structure of the building to allow more resources to come together to support that grade level, versus a classroom teacher doing it all on their own during their language arts block, during their star time. It's all people coming together to help to meet those needs. The first round of data that we've collected has been from our first phase of schools, and from those schools we can look at just certain cohorts, which groups of kids as they've tracked from kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, and we continue to see the upward trajectory with that group of children. The other big thing that I'm seeing, and I'm really positive, and I think it's one of our best things, is our classroom teachers are shifting in their focus of foundational skills and reading. And I think phonemic awareness has been a huge learning for so many people, and the difference between phonemic awareness and actual phonics, and how they're both distinct but yet so crucial in our development of readers. So I think our classroom teachers have shifted their instruction. I think our data right now actually does show that in those foundational skills, in isolated foundational skills, we're showing great progress in those small subgroups of kids in phase 1. Just to emphasize that classroom teachers have done really well in the past. And as balanced literacy has come into North Penn and teachers learned about read-alouds and shared reading and guided reading and building independent reading in their classrooms, that's all made great movement in our literacy growth. And RTI is just a restructuring of what we've done to pool our resources together during one period of the day. And it's also given us a lot of opportunity just to work as professionals and dialogue as professionals to meet kids' needs. That it's not a brand new, it's not a new program, it's not a new thing. It's just restructuring what we've always done and giving professionals the opportunity to work together to do what's best for kids.
For all of these stories and more, log on to nptv.npenn.org for all of our programming at your fingertips 24 hours a day.